Let's take a look at the new labeling here from the Secretary of Health in the Republic of Mexico. And I think this kind of thing, I've seen these little black stop signs. They preceded Mexico and Chile. So the country of Chile in South America started this even before, because my daughter got back from Chile and brought some products with her, and they had these ridiculous things on them. I call them ridiculous because we know now, I should say, my research has indicated, following actually a international nephrologist, that especially type 2 diabetes, which is now prevalent, and we have a lot of obesity, which is actually a disease. It's a disease of inflammation. Doctors will come around, but it won't happen soon because unfortunately they're on the take from Big Farm, and they make an awful lot of money seeing their diabetic 2 patients. I don't know if it's semi-monthly, but they do buy an awful lot of insulin and other things. The problem here is we know already this little stop sign here that says excess calories. Well, we already know that calories in, calories out is not what makes you lose weight. I've proved it. Again, I don't just go through and say, well, I believe this, or I think that, or my opinion is thus and such. If I want to test a hypothesis, I actually run it on my own body, and I've done it. In August, I weighed 121 kilos, and really quickly I reduced intake and lost water, and did some walking in the morning and drank water and did everything you're supposed to do. Ate a little meals here and there and reduced my calories. And I only got down to about 111, 110, 109, 111, 110, 111, plateau. But I hit that right away in like October. So for the first couple of months, I did lose probably 10 kilos to 11 kilos. And I know for a fact that 5 of those were water, almost 10 pounds. I mean, really, you take a 280-pound person who's supposed to be around 195, and he's going to pack on some water. So we know calories isn't going to help you. Why do you think they don't have hey, let's have a reunion show for the Biggest Loser? Well, because all those people made their weight back. And we have some access to some whistleblowers that actually said they have given us a gag order. We're not allowed to tell anyone that we've gained the weight back. No, we're not, but hey, if your family members notice all of a sudden you've gained all your weight back, hello, something's wrong. Excessive saturated fats. There is no evidence, okay? And I have listened to copious amounts of doctors on YouTube. All right, and these guys are doctors. I've actually looked. I know where they practice. I did a Google search on them. I won't mention specific names of doctors unless you want one, but I look all these guys up, and sure, they're in practice. You know, one guy's up in Toronto, someone else is out in Georgia. And then excessive sodium. Again, they have run tests on, back on the saturated fats. That's not what gives you coronary events, apparently, or they can't prove it, all right? Because they do studies where they feed people saturated fats and they feed people not saturated fats, and kind of weird, but the people without the saturated fats apparently die of more heart attacks than the ones that do eat things like bacon and, you know, all their beef fat and everything else. Back over here to the excessive sodium. In that, the sodium, again, it might raise hypertension slightly, but without sodium, your heart, muscles in general, can't contract. And I've done a lot of research here over the last 2.5 months. I mean, that's all I've done is watch videos of several people who don't only preach this stuff, but they do it. Okay, so your excessive sodium thing, again, that's also not quite right, because they also did studies where they had coronary events and they had people on sodium, okay, because they know that sodium and potassium have to play a role in contracting and relaxing the heart muscle. And then they gave people very low sodium diets. Those guys died very quickly of their next heart attack, and the guys without it didn't. So again, when you're dealing in that area, That's not a problem. So let's take a look at what really is the problem. All right, so for 100 grams, I'm not interested in the calories. I couldn't care less about the calories. Proteins, when I go into my macros, that's kind of a big deal. Fats are also a big deal when I go into my macros. But I'm also not worried about cholesterol because the body uses that to build cell walls. Fascinating, especially how water has like this gel layer and it penetrates membranes, and it's just absolutely cool stuff. Omega-3s are way cool. Okay, that's the stuff you find in fish. Well, obviously that's because this has egg yolks, all right? And here we go. Hydrocarbons or carbohydrates available, 2 grams. All right, there's no fiber, so this is essentially 2% carb, which is completely beautiful and wonderful. And look at that gorgeous salt number right there. Wow. It even has vitamin E. That's also thanks to the eggs. So when you know how and what on these labels is actually very important to you, then, well, let's just say this. I don't know how many of you have tried and tried and tried and tried and tried and tried and tried until you are cyan in the face, okay? But I'm here to tell you, obviously, if you're not where you want to be and you've been doing this and doing this and doing this, it doesn't work. So do find something else to do. Yeah, but my doctor, okay. I'm not a doctor. Yeah, follow your doctor. Go ahead. And it hasn't worked in 10 years. So keep following your doctor for another 10 years. Why not? You know, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. Oh, try this new med. Of course, because he's taking money from these guys. You don't think doctors make a little bit on the side here from selling their little meds? Come on. All right, so anyway, that's how you read these things. And again, don't be afraid of excessive calories. If you kind of know what you're doing, don't be afraid of excess saturated fats, and don't be afraid of excess sodium. Do your own research. Test it on your own body. Bonne chance.